To conclude my 3-part review to the My Little Pony movie of 2017, I will share my thoughts on the plot and all of its contents within. As it is too general to just recap the story, I will assume everyone watching this has seen the movie already. Actually, if you've been watching my parts in order, you would have already been spoiled plenty, so I'm fairly certain that you have seen the movie. To describe the plot of this movie in one word, such a word would be predictable. The only moments I was caught off guard was when Capper's song hinted at his misleading behavior, but even then I remembered based on trailers of the movie that he was clearly shown at the end and knew that he would be a good character. I also was surprised when Twilight looked over at Spike after grieving to see him held by one of the Storm King's soldiers. Could I just call them stormtroopers? I mean, it would be pretty fun to do so. Nonetheless, there were times where I could tell this character is going to do this, or this character is going to react in this way, such as when Rainbow Dash was about to sing to the pirates, or when Twilight would save her friends via levitation. I knew that by the end of the movie, Tempest would be reformed, and it was clear that the irony of her depending on the Storm King when promoting an ideology of individualism would prove to be a moment of realization for her. Though when I think about it, one might have thought that her being used by the Storm King would make her even less willing to accept help from others and be more independent. Though I guess the immediate rescue by Twilight showed her that teamwork and friendship was the better option in life. As hurtful as it was, the argument between Pinkie and Twilight was emotional, but gave the movie a very tense setting. It was clear that Twilight was venting her emotions to Pinkie, especially with that last line she spoke before Pinkie and the others walked away. You could also tell that she regretted what she said too. This reminds me of something I've seen before, where the main character does something hurtful to the supporting characters, so that they can save their lives at the main character's expense. So perhaps Twilight did not want her friends to be caught by Tempest, and her emotions after trying to steal Queen Nova's pearl clouded her mind and caused her to act rashly. As I said in the last part, this movie seemed like it was trying to shoehorn in new characters and new settings. 3 out of the 4 main princesses were quickly silenced, focusing the main 6 to find help elsewhere. Why this did not include other areas of Equestria such as Manhattan, Appaloosa, or heck even Yak-Yakistan is beyond me. It was clear that Tempest was invading only Canterlot as that was where all the princesses were gathering. Yes, we know that ponies from all over were at this event, but I know for a fact not every pony could have been there. I think this is something that many people may have overlooked, and the answer is clear that they wanted to introduce new places and new characters, while 1 or 2 of characters were shown in the beginning all in Canterlot, which again was silenced with every pony there being captured and forced to work. Additionally, I just realized that there was absolutely no presence of the Canterlot Guard in this movie. We had some security with Songbird Serenade, but not any actual armored guards. That was why Canterlot was defeated so easily. There were simply no numbers to balance out the numbers of the Storm King's army. Oh my gosh, I can imagine a lot of military brodies are going to explode if they realize this. Not only that, but something I noticed repeatedly in this movie, which is something a lot of people notice in episodes of MOP, is the use of teleportation to resolve a dangerous problem. How about when the main 6 and Spike were trapped in Capper's house and Tempest walked past them and saw them? Or when they were falling from Captain Solano's ship? Or the waterfall? Or spinning in the windmill? Or how about when they were passing out in the desert? All of these could have been solved with teleportation, and the movie knew this too because there was no teleportation in the movie at all. I have a feeling that this was another attempt to make people forget that Twilight could do this. They could have at least had her do it once or twice, and then allow Twilight to explain that she no longer had the stamina to teleport everyone at the same time. Furthermore, why didn't any single pony in Canterlot know of the Storm King? He clearly had enough time to establish a very large area of control in the world. He has his own currency that at least one large town runs off of, and he caused an entire civilization to retreat from their home. Some people might say that Equestria is somewhat isolated from the world, being that places such as Capperstown is a wild, scary, and cruel one. But with peaceful places such as Mount Eris where the Hippogriffs once lived, not every part of the world outside of Equestria was so harsh. And if one pony such as Tempest was able to flee what I would imagine to be someplace in Equestria to work with the Storm King, and if the main 6 and Spike left the borders of Equestria, how has no pony else done this and known about the spreading of the Storm King and his conquest to other lands? It's all very odd, and again it's something I can't imagine wasn't mentioned or discussed during the process of making this movie. All of this being said, there were many things that I loved about the story. As mentioned before, I loved that Capper grew as a character and became a protagonist by the end. I love how political the Storm King was throughout, and I love the tone set in each place. I think that while predictable, the story was also able to teach us several morals, even helping Twilight to learn about being a stranger in someone else's home. As right as she was to not trust Capper, she herself acted rashly in order to save Equestria, when her idea of a distraction was actually a solution itself. This was something I really liked, which is why I am not mad at all the new characters involved. Each one helped Twilight to see what actions and opinions Twilight took properly and improperly, making the duration of the movie come full circle by the end, as most movies do. After taking into account the positives of the superb songs, the amazing animation, the many morals, and the creative characters, along with the negatives of the perplexing plot holes, the mandatory marketing, and the celebrity selling points, I honestly have to say that this movie is only a little above average. As positive of a person that I am, I cannot just say that the important aspects that the movie lacked an explanation to meant nothing to how good of a movie it was. The movie itself is enjoyable. However, if a few more minutes were spent including the Camelot Guard, or explaining the lack of teleportation that Twilight could do, or just Celestia knowing who the Storm King was, and less time on weak puns and jokes and self-referential quips, the movie would have erased most of its flaws. And as for Tempest's backstory being similar to Starlight's, with the loss of a friend being the catalyst for their evil actions, it's not just a reason to cause harm to others. Tempest could do all she could to fix her horn without joining the Storm King. Heck, I'm willing to bet that if she went to the princesses and asked for a moment of their time to perform a spell to fix her broken horn, in order to make her feel more complete and accepted into society, they would have gladly done so. This is why I cannot give the movie more credit than it truly deserves in my eyes. Again, I am in no way saying that this movie was bad at all, but it made some bad choices with easy solutions that were never put into place. I hope that after all of my explanation, you have your own thoughts to share with me, to which I look forward to discussing with you. I would love to hear your thoughts on both my own, and anything you think I missed or should take into consideration. Thank you for watching my review on My Little Pony the movie. I really do thank you for your time.